Back here in Westminster, let's get some political reaction to the latest inflation figures and reflect on the political year with our first guest, the Labour MP for the Cynon Valley, Beth Winter. Bore da, good morning.
Bore da.
Thanks for joining us. Reflect on those figures then. Inflation down to 7.9%.
I think that is encouraging and is going in the right direction. However, inflation does still remain higher than most pay awards for teachers, nurses and those in the public sector. So there's still further to go, and we've still got unacceptably high levels of poverty in the country, and we need to be invested in our public services and our public workers.
Well, that takes us nicely on to some debates within the Labour Party, because following Sir Keir Starmer's interview with Laura Kuenssberg on the weekend, there's been some controversy. Let's start with his refusal to change the policy on the two-child limit. So if you're in receipt of benefits and you've got 3 children, you can get help for the first 2, but not the third unless you've got an exemption. Now, many Labour politicians, including yourself, thought that an incoming Labour government would get rid of that. Sir Keir Starmer saying no.
Well, I stood on a manifesto to commitment in 2019 that we would scrap the two-child limit, and Keir Starmer stood on the same platform when he stood as leader, and the majority, if not all of the members of Parliament that I have spoken to this week still believe that it should be scrapped. So we really were taken aback by the announcement on Sunday. It is a pernicious, a heinous policy. We've got over 4 million children living in poverty in the UK, and that level is increasing. We must scrap that, and I urge the leadership to reverse that decision. And I know it's going to be discussed at the National Policy Forum this coming Saturday.
How angry are Labour MPs then? Because we're told that the shadow cabinet, for example, when it met yesterday, was united on this.
People are very disappointed and very angry, and it was a commitment that we made in the last manifesto. It is something that we can afford to do, and we have a duty to tackle child poverty. So I urge the leadership to reconsider the decision.
And what about his general point? He wouldn't be drawn on whether a new UK Labour government would spend more money on public services.
Well, the difficult decisions in terms of fiscal responsibility is, for me, whether or not you are willing to challenge the wealthy, the extreme wealth that exists, and actually look to tax wealth. The easy decision is to not do that. We have enough wealth in this country. Unfortunately, it is in the hands of the few. So fiscal responsibility for me is about tackling the vast inequality that exists.
No commitment either on whether there would be extra money for the rail services here in Wales because of spending on HS2 in England.
No, I know, and the Welsh Affairs Committee and myself and others have made it very clear that in terms of HS2, and Welsh Government have said that we are owed over £5 billion in Barnett consequentials.
Labour in Westminster doesn't commit to that.
Well, we're a broad church and we will keep pushing that, and Welsh Government, the First Minister of Wales, is also of the same view that we do deserve that funding, so we will continue to push those.
I mean, you're critical of some of the policy announcements from the current UK Labour leadership, and yet Labour is way ahead in the polls. Is Keir Starmer more in tune with the public than your wing of the party?
We have extreme levels of inequality in this country. As a Labour politician, as a proud socialist, we have a duty, and that's why I was elected, in order to stand up for working class people, and I will continue to do so. We are a broad church. There is room for a diversity of views. We are having very robust discussions within the party, and we need to ensure that we address those inequalities.
OK, thank you very much for joining us. That's Labour MP for Cynon Valley, Beth Winter, and as you can hear, we've got the anti-Brexit supporters in the background. It is coming up to 7:21.
BBC Radio.
It's very sporadic. Look, Keir Starmer's stance on Brexit sucks.
Okay, but doing that right into it, I just talked about child poverty.
Yes, which has increased due to Brexit. Come on, Beth, you know that.
But why
Because
we can't look to the opposition to voice the obvious.
Is not voicing the obvious.
If you were, we'd be redundant.
We wouldn't be here. Serious, you know that, Beth.
I was talking about trade policy.
Yes, but you know Brexit has made it far worse.
Yeah, it's related. The idea it isn't related is absurd. You know it's related.
You know, I'm happy to have that discussion, and you know I'll always have that discussion. But while I'm being interviewed about,
We made sure
That's
the
why
odd line in gaps.
We tried to hit the gaps where it went to him, not when you were.
We did not want to occlude your argument at all, and we didn't occlude your argument at all. It just had a little. It just had a little extra in
I
there.
discuss stuff. You know, I'll always talk, and
I know. But you need to have a word with Keir Starmer about his stance on Brexit, because to gain the red wall, he's alienating far more. The red wall don't want to vote Tory, regardless of Brexit. And Keir Starmer must know that by now.